All right, let's get into another track. Are mass shooters sexually frustrated? I don't think so. I think these are empty sacks of shit who are highly narcissistic. They feel a little depressive and they act out in a way to get attention with society. They're always trying to act out. They can't live a normal life like a normal person because they're so freaking narcissistic that in a lot of cases, in the past, we thought we were dealing with mentally unstable people that got guns. Now we're dealing with pieces of shit and basically just sacks of shit. That's the word. And then, excuse my French. No, I will not, because that's what they are. And you'll see these pieces of trash that decide to take weapons of destruction against innocent people to make a point. And I don't see it any different from terrorism. I see it all the same. This mass murder execution is basically a way for somebody to act out against society. And we have seen this in lots of cases. So a lot of these people were the empty little cowards that traditionally shot up their skulls. And now they've gotten a little older, and it's even worse because these are older people doing this that are just absolutely monsters. And what they do is they feel they get some identity with an attitude, and they feel less valued by society like a terrorist, so they act out. Instead of leading a normal life, they try to act out. And now you're seeing people who will not shoot themselves at the end and feel like they're leading a miserable life. They're actually out there to destroy other lives. And so sexual frustration may play a role, but I think it's more of an identity crisis than anything else. Because if they had sex, chances are some of those people would never like it anyway, or they'd still want to do some of this stuff. And you got to remember the Aurora shooter did have a romantic relationship in college. You know, this is where it was not as much about shooting as much as he was a Dahmer type of fantasy, wanting to hurt and destroy lives any way he could. And he was thinking serial killings, well, he needs to be destroyed. Simple as that. These are the kinds of people that are monsters. And I don't believe in the sexual frustration trash. And like George Sedini, this was a cowardly piece of trash. And, you know, you'd think that a reasonable person like him, the way he traditionally was known as a nice guy, would have a relationship. But it was not that he couldn't relate to people. It was because he was an emotionally weak individual who would never have been able to get a relationship going for a long period of time because he was going through an identity crisis. And so instead of trying to solve his problems, he projects his anger on women, says, oh, it's your fault for rejecting me. No, your ass should have been in that aerobics clinic taking a class, and I bet you might have made some friends. But instead, you think of shooting it and basically think of taking a negative attitude out on other people. Instead of saying, you know, other people have better attitudes than I do, you just hate the people that are successful, so you're a loser. And this is the other side of mass shooters. They're losers. They're frickin' zeros. And I sure hope people do not think of writing into these pieces of trash. These are just people that should be disappeared off the face of society. If a dickless little coward takes a gun on innocent people, they should put his ass in the jail with all the other inmates that hate him and let them take him apart before court, because they shouldn't be giving these pieces of trash attention. And as long as they do, this is where a perpetrator gets more attention than the person who he destroyed the life of, who is doing more with their life. This is like the orgies of the Roman Empire that crashed it. This is just sick. And, you know, this is the reality of society. And so basically, it gets into the criminological, sociological elements of not all criminals are sociopaths, not all sociopaths are criminals. You can have weak people on the inside who do criminal stuff because they do not know a good enough identity of themselves. And a lot of times, mass shooters have no sense of identity of their own. So they embrace an idea, and it's not even them being themselves, but they're so deluded, they decide this is what they're going to do. And this is where the idea of the mentally unstable Sylvia Segrist types that just take a gun thinking they're on a mission is now obsolete, because you're seeing pieces of trash in this generation that want to act out on society and punish society because they feel rejected. And this is narcissistic, anger-driven, emotionally neglected attitudes that the people project. And this is an attitude that they absolutely stand on, and they don't take any if or but about it. They don't take any regard for other people because they decide that they are ready to punish society because they couldn't get laid, or some pathetic garbage like that. And then they don't even deserve to. I sure hope the next mass shooters don't get any groupie letters. I sure hope the next mass shooters get groupies in the prison the first day they get in there only, because that's what they should get. And, you know, hope this video